Stay down! Don't move! Ah! Get out! I said don't move! I didn't do anything!
What would you do if the worst moment of your life happened in public and everyone saw it, but no one stopped it? What if the man who hurt you believed, deep down, that you didn't matter enough for consequences to follow? Because on one quiet morning in Ohio, a single shove echoed louder than anyone expected, and it never stopped echoing. Before we continue, welcome to Silent Echo Stories. These are true-to-life stories about moments that changed everything. If you feel these stories, show support in your own way and let us know where you're watching from. We see you. Thomas Walker was 78 years old. He stood just under 6 feet when he was younger. Now he leaned forward when he walked, his back bent slightly, his weight resting on a thin black cane. His hands shook when he was tired, which was most of the time. Thomas was quiet by nature. He believed loud people caused trouble. He believed patience fixed most things. That belief had kept him alive for a long time. He lived alone in a small apartment in Dayton, Ohio. His wife had died 12 years earlier. Cancer. Fast and cruel. His children lived in other states. They called when they could. Thomas told them he was fine, even when he wasn't. Once a month, Thomas woke up early, put on his brown jacket, and took the bus downtown. The ride took over an hour. He didn't mind. He liked watching the city wake up. He went to the same government building every time. Same questions, same answers. Still processing. Come back next month, there's a delay. Thomas didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He believed if he stayed calm, things would work out. What no one ever noticed was the slight limp he carried, even after all these years, or the way he flinched at sudden loud noises, or the card he kept in his wallet. Purple Heart, Vietnam. Thomas Walker had survived things most people couldn't imagine. But none of that showed on the outside. Kyle Mason was 27 years old, tall, muscular, clean haircut, new boots that hadn't been worn in yet. Kyle liked uniforms. He liked rules, especially when he got to enforce them. Being a security guard wasn't his dream job, but it made him feel important. People moved when he spoke. Kyle had grown up believing the world was divided into two types of people, those in control and those who needed to be controlled. He watched everyone who entered the building. When Thomas Walker walked in that morning, Kyle noticed him right away. Old, slow, black. Kyle didn't think of it as hate. He thought of it as instinct. He watched Thomas the entire time he stood in line. The lobby was dull and tired, like it had given up years ago. Beige walls, scuffed tile floors, fluorescent lights that buzzed softly overhead. A flag stood in the corner, slightly crooked. Thomas stood in line. He waited. He leaned on his cane. When it was his turn, the clerk barely looked at him. "You'll need to come back another day," she said. "Your file isn't complete." Thomas sighed quietly. He rubbed his chest through his jacket. "Ma'am," he said, polite and slow, "I came all the way from Dayton. I just want someone to explain what's missing." Before the clerk could respond, Kyle stepped forward. "You're holding up the line," Kyle said. Thomas turned his head. "I'm just asking a question." Kyle moved closer. Too close. His shadow covered Thomas's shoes. "You need to move along," Kyle said. Thomas didn't respond right away. He looked confused, like he was trying to understand why this was happening. That pause annoyed Kyle. That pause made Kyle angry. And then Kyle shoved him. Not a warning push. Not a gentle nudge. 2 hands. Full force. Thomas didn't have time to react. His cane slipped out from under him. His feet failed him. His body went backward, fast and helpless. He hit the floor hard, so hard that his hearing aid flew out of his ear and slid across the tile, buzzing like a trapped insect. The sound echoed. The entire lobby went silent. Thomas tried to move. His hands shook as he pushed against the floor, but his leg was twisted underneath him at a painful angle. "Get up," Kyle snapped. "I told you to leave." Thomas didn't answer. His breathing came fast and shallow, like he was trying not to scream. A woman gasped. Someone shouted, "What the hell?" Kyle stepped back and raised his hands. "He tripped," he said quickly. Thomas groaned. His eyes darted around the room. He looked scared, lost. Another guard rushed over. "Call 911, someone yelled. Kyle kept talking. He was causing a disturbance. Thomas finally spoke. His voice was weak. "I didn't do anything." His hand moved toward his jacket pocket. Kyle's tone changed instantly. "Don't move." Thomas froze. His hand trembled in the air. "My wallet," he whispered. "My card." The second guard knelt down and carefully reached into Thomas's jacket. The wallet slipped from his hand and opened on the floor. Inside was a worn military ID, Purple Heart, Vietnam. The room shifted. The second guard stared at it longer than he should have. Then he looked up at Kyle. "You see this?" Kyle said nothing. For the first time, doubt crossed his face. The EMTs arrived within minutes. When they lifted Thomas onto the stretcher, he cried out. His leg was broken. His body shook. As they rolled him toward the doors, Thomas turned his head and looked at Kyle. His eyes weren't angry. They were scared. That night, Kyle told himself it wasn't a big deal. Old man fell. Accidents happen. People were just being dramatic. But when he closed his eyes, he heard the sound again, the body hitting tile. At work the next day, people avoided him. His supervisor said there would be an investigation. Kyle laughed it off. 3 days later, Thomas Walker died. Internal bleeding, broken hip. His heart couldn't handle the stress. The story spread fast. Local news, then national. They showed photos of Thomas in uniform, young, strong, smiling beside men who never came home. People dug into Kyle's past, old posts, comments, jokes. Kyle was fired, then charged. That's when the dream started. Every night, Kyle stood in the empty lobby, lights flickering, silence thick. He heard dragging. From the hallway came Thomas, not walking, dragging his broken leg behind him. Tap, tap, tap. Kyle couldn't move. Thomas stopped inches away. He opened his jacket. Inside was darkness. Kyle woke up screaming. Soon the sounds followed him into real life. A cane tapping behind him in the store, the smell of hospital cleaner in his apartment, a purple ribbon hanging from his car mirror. He threw it away. It came back. Kyle stopped sleeping. His girlfriend left. At trial, he couldn't lift his head. 5 old men sat in the front row. Veterans. They didn't glare. They just watched. Kyle pleaded guilty. If this story stayed with you, let us know. These moments matter, and they echo long after the sound fades. This is Silent Echo Stories.